Respected viewers, brothers and sisters in Islam, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Welcome to another episode of the live coverage from the greatest human gathering ever to be known in history, that's Ziyarah Arbaeen. Now today I would like to begin with two lines of poetry written in Arabic. It says, إذا شئت النجاة فزر حسينا تلقى الإله قرير عينا فإن النار لا تمس جسما عليه غبار زوار الحسيني. Now what it means is that if you seek salvation, then visit Hussein, for you will meet Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala with your desires and with your wishes fulfilled. For hell fire does not touch the body that has the dust of the pilgrims of Imam Hussein alayhi salam. Now tonight inshallah I will try my best to focus on these two lines of poetry. At the first bit it says, if you seek salvation, then visit Imam Hussein alayhi salam. Some people wonder, how will I achieve salvation? By visiting Imam Hussein alayhi salam. It is written on the throne of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that Inna al-Hussein Musbah al-Huda wa Safinatun Najat. Verily Hussein is the light of guidance that guides the people to the right path. In Ziyarah Arbaeen, inshallah, in 2 days you'll have the opportunity to recite Ziyarah Arbaeen, where Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, or the pilgrim that reads the Ziyarah, he tells the Imam that you were the one, you were the light that aided those who were in the darkness of ignorance and in the yoke of ignorance, and took them out of that state. Now Hussein was that person, the light of guidance that guided every single human being into believing in freedom, into believing in justice, because his stand was an ultimate stand, was an eternal stand, that up to the day of judgment his stand will always be remembered. And what it also says on the throne of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, وَسَفِينَةُ النَّجَاةِ, the ark of salvation, مَنْ رَكِبَهَا نَجَى وَمَنْ تَخَلَّفَ عَنْهَا غَرِقَ وَهَوَى. Whoever aboards that ark, that ship of salvation of Imam Hussein alayhi salam, he will reach salvation. He will achieve the goals that he wishes. And whoever abandons that ark, he will drown in the yoke of ignorance, and he will basically halak. It means like he will be, his rights of being the lover of Islam will be all taken away for not aborting that ship. Now these individuals who are walking to Karbala, these individuals who have dedicated their lives to Imam Hussein alayhi salam, they have aborted that ark, because that ark is so unique that it takes great and a lot of will and a lot of determination and a lot of dedication to aboard such an ark, and that's the ark of Imam Hussein alayhi salam. Imam al-Sadiq alayhi salam, he says, if you seek sustenance and if you seek to prolong your life and to achieve all of your desires, then visit Imam Hussein alayhi salam. For the one who visits Imam Hussein with cognizant understanding of who Imam Hussein alayhi salam is, then Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will make it mandatory on the angels guarding heaven, or he will make it mandatory on the individual to enter heaven. But inshallah I'll continue this discussion, but after we hand it over to my brother Hussein Sukhni, who is approximately 10 kilometers away from the holy city of Karbala. Amazing view you are provided with right now from Bain al-Haramain. But I'll hand it over to my brother Hussein Sukhni, and we'll be back shortly. Assalamu alaikum, brother Hussein.
Yes, here on the road amongst the Zuwar, the pilgrims calling to Abu Abdullah al-Hussein on the road from Najaf to Karbala. We are near the end, we are near the finish line. We are at pole 1, 2, 3, 4, which is 10 kilometers of the master of martyrs, Abi Abdullah al-Hussein. May my life be a sacrifice to him. Now, before we go and show you and our dear viewers the report, I want to touch upon a very important point that we are living, us as a team here at Imam Hussein TV, we are living this point that I'd like to make. And that point is, media in the way of Imam al-Hussein and to spread the message of Imam al-Hussein is easily one of the most important methods of spreading the message that one can do. When we are here, sitting up here day and night, spreading the message of the Imam, showing the world, even if I personally was not here sitting, or Sheikh Muntadhar or you, Brother Ahmed, were not sitting there, even if the cameras were just on the Zuwar, just on the shrine of Abi Abdullah al-Hussein, showing the world, these millions and millions of lovers are here to show their love to Imam al-Hussein. There is a reason, there is a bigger cause as to why everyone is here. And that reason is that Imam al-Hussein stood up against dictatorship, stood up against oppression, stood for justice. And what really hurts me is that around the world there are very little, especially in the West, there are very little media outlets that cover such a record-breaking gathering, such a the largest gathering in the world, the largest peaceful gathering in the world, over 20 million. In fact, this year they're telling me that, I was speaking to a couple of the soldiers that we done a report with earlier actually, was that there are almost 30 million Zuwar estimated this year. Now this number, it's just not something small. 30 million. If I want to compare it to London, London is what? 7.5 million? So just over 4 times the amount of the population of London. This is something that's unbelievable, and they're all walking for hundreds and hundreds of miles and kilometers from cities furthest away, from countries all over the world. They're here to visit Imam al-Hussein. Now if this is not worthy enough to make the news or make Western news, if it's not worthy enough in the eyes of the West, then I don't know what is. I'm not sure if there is a hidden agenda to hide such a gathering, to hide such a movement against oppression, a movement of love. Now that doesn't make sense to me, that there is something this big and this great, and yet people choose not to cover it. Now the world definitely knows about it, these outlets definitely know, because we, for countless years, when I personally was living in London, and I know a lot of the brothers who are there now, they constantly write articles, they constantly send emails into the news channels telling them to cover it. In fact, I know a couple of friends that I was with earlier today that they film themselves, they've prepared the whole documentary and they've offered it free of charge to some of the Western media outlets. Yet it's not being aired, it's not being covered. And it's truly, it's not only, it's not only annoying, but it's also, worrying. It worries me that there is an agenda to try silence these silent voices. These people are here, they are walking. They're not calling out, let's fight the West, or let's fight this, or let's fight. No, they are calling the Ya Hussein, we are at the service of Imam al-Hussein. They're not declaring war on anyone. They are just saying we are here to defend Abi Abdullah al-Hussein, and whenever he needs us, we are there. They only declare war against oppression, against injustice, against dictatorship. Isn't that the call that the world wants to hear? Isn't that what we constantly hear through figures like Malcolm X, through figures like Mahatma Gandhi? Ahmed Ali, before he passed away, his life was filled with stands against oppression and against racism. Yet all these figures learnt from one man. All these figures learnt from Imam al-Hussein. Inshallah, a media outlet like this one, like Imam Hussein TV, can show the world that Hussein unites us. And inshallah, many of the other TV channels can follow through and bring the message of Imam Hussein to the world. And on that note, I don't want to take too much of your time, Brother Ahmed and our dear viewers. Yesterday we were out at Mawqif Abdullah Radi', also known as 110. And yesterday also, of course, we showed you 2 of the reports that we filmed there. But there was so much that we saw there, so much advancement, so many new methods that we have not seen before, that we felt it important to separate it into several reports and talk about each of the things we saw in the Mawqif, in the tent of service of Imam Hussein. So I'd like to pass it on to the report, and inshallah we'll return after and comment on the things we saw. So over to the report, inshallah.
Dear viewers of Imam Hussein TV, rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. We are now still standing inside this grand mawqif in the name of Abdullah Radi', also known as 110. Now this mawqif has so many aspects to it, so many different services, that it's impossible to fit it in one report. So we have decided to do it in several reports, and inshallah give you a wider image of the different services, not only in the mawqif, but generally in the Ziyarah of Imam Hussein. Here now in the camp of Abdullah Radi', you can see that they have not done any shortages, they have not left anything out of their mind. Any idea they have had, anything that they feel the Zawar would have wanted, they have put effort to bring and to make sure the Zawar are satisfied with their walk. Now these piles of boxes you see behind me, they are filled with chickens. They are piled all over this area that I'm standing in now. Now these chickens, they are bought before the Ziyarah period, because during their pilgrimage, all the roads will be locked up and they will not get a chance to bring any more equipment and any more food in. So everything is bought before Ziyarah, before the pilgrimage, and refrigerated in 7 huge container fridges that they have. Now, these fridges are powered by 2 enormous generators that are enough to power a whole town. Now if you look now, and these big cookers, you can see they have emptied out the chicken, they let it stay in water for a couple of hours, then they unwrap it, and then they bring it into this flavoring and they let it moisturize. Once the flavoring gets into the chicken, then that's when they put it into the machinery here, and then they begin to cook it, roast it, and then take it out to Zawar to be eaten and to have the shafa of Abu Abdullah al-Hussein, because this is the food table of Imam al-Hussein, and this food is in honor of Imam al-Hussein, so there is shafa in it.
Welcome back, dear viewers. I hope that report truly, well, in the sense of the other reports that you have seen, truly, shows you what kind of effort has been put into the logistics and into this tent of service of Abu Abdullah al-Hussein. What you saw, of course, was the chicken and the food making process in general, and how it is stored and how it is prepared. Now, from that report alone, you can see the efforts of the brothers who have come all the way from Kuwait, and of course with a helping hand from the Lebanese brothers and the Pakistani brothers there at the tent. Now, just a reminder to the brothers, you know, and the sisters, of course, that this tent of service is a very big one and there are many aspects to it. So for that reason, we have split it into several reports, and the final report will be throughout the show, inshallah. So once we come back from Ahmed later on, inshallah we'll show you that report. But for now, I pass it on to you, my dear brother, back in the studio, and we'll see you in a bit.
Thank you very much, Brother Hussein. It was amazing to see the shots from the helicam, from the report, the amazing food that is served during this great pilgrimage. But I would like to touch upon one point you mentioned before going into a break, and that's the media coverage that has neglected Ziyarah al-Arbaeen. If we look at what is broadcast in our media today, forget about Western media. Western media is focused on their specific agendas, and whenever there is something that is for human rights, there's a riot going on, there's something that always portrays Muslims and Islam in a negative way, you see them covering it. When there's a bomb, you see them covering it. When there's something that, you know, disgraces Islam and Muslims, we see them covering it. The misconceptions, they always raise them, but yet they have neglected the biggest unity ever on this planet, and that's the unity which is performed by the Ziyarah of Imam Hussein during the Arbaeen. Now I don't know what's going on with the media and how they give a blind eye to Ziyarah al-Arbaeen. I mean, if World Guinness was to ever come to Karbala and to witness what we witness, definitely 100% they will record this as the biggest human gathering in the world, because no other place in such a period of time where a lot of people think Iraq is a dangerous country where ISIS is taking over, but alhamdulillah the media just says nonsense. If this was true, then 30 million would not be present in Karbala, unless these individuals have dedicated everything they have, which they have, to Imam Hussein alayhi salam. If you come to Karbala, people are walking from borders, from Kuwait, around 600 meters, 615 meters from the Kuwaiti border up until Karbala. Nothing is in their way. From Najaf, from Hilla, from Baghdad, from other cities, they come walking to Karbala. But this hate that the enemies of Ahlul Bayt alayhim salam have for Ahlul Bayt, they tried so hard to always, you know, cover up what goes on in Arbaeen. Not cover as in show the world, but cover it up with a veil that no one sees it. Every year, last year there were 22 to 25 million. This year they're expecting 30 million. Every year it will increase. Despite what people think, despite the enemies of Ahlul Bayt trying so hard, the poetry I mentioned earlier, it ties in with this. This individual was a Nasibi, was a person who hated Ahlul Bayt with passion. He hated Ahlul Bayt he just hated them. As basic as that. His hate emanated from his mother. She made a vow between her and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that if she got a child, she will feed him the hate of Ahlul Bayt and feed him the hate of Zuwar al-Hussein alayhi salam. So she was granted a child, a boy, and ever since he was a little child up until he was a youth, she always fed him with that hate. She always fed him with that anger towards Ahlul Bayt alayhim salam. That these individuals are rebels, these individuals are infidels, they don't deserve to live. And she told him to kill Zuwar al-Hussein. Now this was in Mosul, where right now ISIS, the so-called Islamic State, tried so hard to take over that city. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen, our dedicated Hajj al-Sha'bi, the armed groups from the Iraqi communities in Iraq, all of them left their families to go defend the values of their country. Now it's free, alhamdulillah rabbil alameen, thanks to God. However, when pilgrims used to come from that road, his mother told him to keep a sword with him and kill the Zuwar of Hussein coming on the way. Now, he got his sword ready. When he arrived, it was nighttime. He went to sleep. He's like, I'll kill them in the morning. A lot of pilgrims were there. In his sleep, it was like the day of judgment. And he saw the angels, and Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala ordered him to go to hell. But hell, when the angels were taking him to hell, it closed its doors. The angel of death says, hellfire, it cannot accept this person. This person, keep in our mind, this person wants to kill Zuwar al-Hussein. It says, I cannot take this individual. Everyone was shocked. What's going on? Anida. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala called upon the angels. He says, the body that has the dust of Zuwar al-Hussein, not Zuwar al-Hussein, and not Imam al-Hussein, not the dust of Imam al-Hussein, the dust of the Zuwar of Imam al-Hussein alayhi salam. If a person has that dust on his body, on his clothes, even on his hair, hell cannot touch his body. So he woke up, turned himself into a Shia and a poet, praising Ahlul Bayt alayhim salam, especially Imam al-Hussein alayhi salam, when we see him writing, إِذَا شِئْتَ النَّجَاةِ زُرْ حُسَيْنًا, if you seek salvation, then visit Imam al-Hussein alayhi salam. This is what the media, especially the Nawasib, especially the people who have established the hate to Ahlul Bayt alayhim salam, they try to feed their youth. They always point and they always focus on the youth. Because they're already hated Ahlul Bayt alayhim salam their entire life. So a possibility, because they can influence them more. But what they do, they focus on the youth. It is our responsibility as youth. How many people across the world, Shia youth, have cell phones, have iPads, laptops? Everyone has a cell phone now, a smartphone. Everyone, and it's safe to say that the majority of the Shia right now either have Facebook, have Instagram, have Twitter, have Snapchat, and any sorts of media, social media on their devices. Yet we rarely see. Yesterday I was going through Instagram to see how many people are uploading to Karbala and comparing it with other topics. And I had around 25,000 posts. Other topics had 50 to 1 million posts. This is, when we look at this, we know that we have made a disservice to Ahlul Bayt alayhim salam. The Western media, if they don't see us always pointing to this pilgrimage, if they don't see us always talking about this pilgrimage, it won't go viral. We always have to focus on what goes on in Arbaeen. How long will it take us just to do a Snapchat? 10 seconds? 10, 15 second Snapchat? And you've sent this to millions of people across the world. One snap and one post on Instagram and millions of people across the world will see it. Just type in the tags, go and search, hit hashtags Karbala. Look how many posts you'll find. It's not that hard. It's up to us whether we want to deliver the message of Imam Hussein alayhi salam. It's up to us to show the West, to show Western media what Hussein has to offer. People nowadays in the West, Imam Hussein alayhi salam is day by day growing. And people in the West are getting to know who is Imam al-Hussein. But it's up to us to show them these individuals you are presented with right now. What motivates a mother who is sitting at home with her children, a 6-month-old baby to up to 2-year-old that can barely walk, put them in a straddle and push them to Karbala, hundreds of miles away? What motivates such individuals to walk hundreds of miles away. Yesterday when I was on the streets to Karbala, people walked from Pakistan. People were walking from Pakistan. And we think that we're doing something big walking from Najaf. It is big in the eye of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But we have to share this message. Prayer is obligatory on the believers. And you don't have to show the world that you're praying. But Ziyarah to Imam Hussein is something different. When you go to visit Imam Hussein, show your friends that you are here. Motivate them to come. Because Imam Sadiq alayhi salam, he says the one who inspires or motivates his friend to come to Karbala, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, even if that person can't come, but the person you have motivated comes to Karbala, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will record a pilgrimage in your name. It's very unfortunate that we have done this disservice to the Ahlul Bayt alayhim salam. But alhamdulillah, we do find a lot of people who are trying their best, like Imam Hussein TV and like the other Shia channels around the world. They are trying their best to broadcast this. But for me and for Ahlul Bayt, this is not enough. We need to try even harder. We need to reach. There's not a top. No one can reach the top because the top is endless. It's infinite. So if we try to reach the top, we will never reach the top because there's no top. Every day there is something to improve in. Every day there is a new technology coming out. People are advancing. We need to use this technology. I mean, the entire world is in your hands. You can chat with someone from China if you're in Canada. You can chat in Iraq. If you chat with someone in Russia, you can. You can chat to individuals who are across the world. Yet we have not used these devices for the benefit of Ahlul Bayt alayhim salam. Now we're not saying that you should always be on Twitter or Facebook and sending Hussein quotes. But once a day, you remember Imam Hussein alayhi salam. If not once a day, once a week, post a picture of Imam Hussein alayhi salam. In Arbaeen, people in the West do know that there's a huge gathering because statistics show that the airlines are booked to Karbala and to Najaf. Statistics show that millions of people are arriving at airports in Iraq. Why? You know, when someone in Britain or in the US, when they associate themselves with ISIS, they always get tracked where they go. And they know that they have landed in this airport at this time and they'll be in this place at this time. Yet they do not focus on people who have left their jobs, left their homes, left everything they have behind and came to the same destination as 30 million plus people. And that's Karbala, and that's Imam Hussein alayhi salam. So it's our duty to keep that in mind and to always serve Imam Hussein, not by handing out food. It's not about handing out food or water or handing out coffee. It's about sharing the message of Imam Hussein alayhi salam. Although that it's the biggest honor you can do is serving Imam Hussein through food or other means. But if you can't serve food, serve him in your own ways. When you have a tablet, when you have a phone in your hand, do send that message. Do convey the message of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. But we'll go back to my brother Hussein Sukhni, who will also show us what's going on the way to Karbala and what kind of reports he has prepared for us. So over to you, Brother Hussein.
Thank you very much, Brother Ahmed, for your insights and for your talk. Now that you are back on the streets of Karbala, on the streets leading to Karbala, leading to Abi Abdullah al-Hussein, I can only tell you about what I am seeing and what I am experiencing. Now these different experiences have truly opened my eyes and opened my mind in so many different ways. I have seen people in a new light. I've seen there is a new breed of people. You know, we are not all the same. There are people who are created for a sole purpose, and that purpose is the khidmah and the mourning for Abi Abdullah al-Hussein. this khidmah, this service for Imam al-Hussein is not something simple that anyone can do. It truly is something that is divine. The stuff you see here, you would never see anywhere else in the world. And it's not just traditional things like, you know, it's not everything's old school like people would imagine. You know, yes, there's old ladies, these grandmothers sitting in the tents and making bread and putting it out. But the khidmah, the service of Imam al-Hussein is evolving. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen, it hasn't lost the tradition, but at the same time it has evolved and it has catered for the millions, the extra that come every year. You know, 30 million this year estimated. This is an incredible number. So the report that we will show you today, inshallah, is on the services, the technology that has been put in place, the innovation that has been done to, you know, cater for the millions and to pave a new path in the service of Imam al-Hussein. Now, when I was at the Mawkib the other day filming, it's truly something I did not expect. You know, you expect many things, but there are still many things that do surprise us. You know, I saw them, they had installed a whole water system, like pumping water out of the ground, refiltering it, you know, making sure the ingredients are correct, making sure that everything is on point. It's not something I've never seen this done here in the service of Imam al-Hussein. People usually install system like this to make a profit, you know, as a company. But this was all free of charge in the service and in the name of the Zuwar of Imam al-Hussein. At the same time, you know, there are many other innovations that you will see in the report, inshallah. And in fact, I'm not going to carry on talking. I'm going to let you see the report, and when we come back we will touch upon some of the points also. So inshallah, enjoy the report and then we will return. Easily my favorite part of the whole Mawkib, which is Abdullah Rabi', also known as 110. This is the dessert area where they're making muffins and cakes and giving it out to the Zawar. Now this makes me happy to see, not only because I'm a fan of muffins, but it shows that the Mawkib are now self-sufficient to an extent where they can make their own cakes and make their own desserts, rather than going out and purchasing from other companies and from shops and then giving it out. But no, here they are making their own cakes using the machines over there, and their brothers in the corner, you know, putting the dough together, making the flavoring, and then baking it and then putting it out ready to give out to the Zawar. This is a very important factor to understand, that we're reaching a stage in the Mawakib, and a lot of Mawakib are following this Mawakib's footsteps, where they are making their own food, they are making their own water, they're making their own dessert. They are being more and more self-sufficient. This is a very vital factor. Now, now that we are behind the cakes and we have spoken about the cakes, I'm going to tell you how it tastes like. So inshallah, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Now, from my experience in cakes, this truly is top notch. It truly is high quality, clean food, ready made for the Zawar of Abdullah Hussein. They truly have not left out a single detail when it comes to serving the pilgrims, the divine pilgrims of Imam Hussein.
He who hurts you will face the pain, and he will face every curse, and my love for you gets better
consideration in this Abdullah Radi' camp, also known as 110. Behind me is what they have done, is they have put together a water process machine where they pump the water from deep under the ground. They put it through this big machine that they have set up specifically for Ziyarah Arbaeen. And they cleanse it, they filter it, they make sure all the ingredients within the water are clean and to the millimeter, to the micrometer, everything is perfect and ready to go up on Zawar. So here, someone is supervising and everything is going perfectly fine, and then it moves on to the next process after the water has been cleaned, filtered and checked. After the cleansing process and the filtering of the water, it's then put through this machine you see here in front of me, where it passes through this blue hose and puts into the packaging process. Now the packaging process is best done by this machine, where it calculates the pressure needed to staple the bags and to put the right amount of water in it. So the packaging here, which is the personalized packaging, as you can see, the personalized printing is printed on top and then put through this machine. Once it's put through, this process here, the water falls through and it is stapled. Once stapled, it falls into this bucket here, and then bucket is filled, it gets changed to another bucket and then stacked, ready to give out to the Zawar of Imam Hussein. In honor of Abu Fadl al-Abbas and in honor of Abdullah Radi', the one who was placed by the arrow rather than given the water that they went out to get.
How can you lie that I am the ground when for you the sky is in pain? How can...
Now, welcome back, dear viewers. That report, inshallah, showed you the extent that the lovers of Imam Hussein are willing to go to help not just Imam Hussein but the guests, the pilgrims of Imam Hussein. And this truly, as I mentioned before, has opened my eyes and made me notice many new things. That people with skills, people with abilities, people with resources are starting to come back and starting to invest in Imam Hussein. Not to invest financially and with the intention to make money, but no, investing with the intention to serve the Zawar of Imam Hussein. No profits made, no thoughts of making any profits, but thoughts of making the Zawar happy and satisfied and making sure they reach Abu Abdullah with their mind focused on their mission. Not to worry about where they're going to sleep or worry about where they're going to eat or what they're going to eat. No, everything is being provided so that the Zawar, when they come, they down this road, they know that the man that they are alive for is at the end of this road. That man is Abu Abdullah. I don't want to take too much of your time, so I'll pass it on to back to you, Brother Ahmed, in the studio, and inshallah we'll return for the final part from here in the street to Karbala.
Thank you very much, Brother Hussein. It was beautiful to see what these people are doing. I mean, they haven't left anything. They packed water, they filtered water, they packed the water with their logo. I mean, it goes to that extent that people have dedicated themselves to Hussein alayhi salam. And honestly, that mawkib is a whole restaurant by itself. When you go to a restaurant, they'll bring you water, they'll bring you a drink, they'll bring you a platter with food, and then after they'll bring you dessert. So basically, you have everything at your service at that mawkib, and same with other mawakib. Yesterday, I was honored to see a beautiful scene in front of me. A person having his son sit on his knees with a big platter on his head and begging the Zawar. He's not even telling them, he's begging. He says, "May I and my family be ransomed to you, O Zawar al-Hussein, just come eat from my food." He was handing out sweets. They beg the Za'ir. They do it with such humbleness. No, nowadays when we do something, even for our friends, we can't do it with arrogance. We can't do it like, we're doing you a favor. But no, these people are saying, do us a favor by eating from our food. This resembles what? This resembles the companions of Hussein alayhi salam on the day of Ashura. When they talk to Hussein, they say, do us a favor and let us go defend you. Do us a favor and let us go defend Islam. It's not like they are doing a favor for Imam Hussein. No, Imam al-Hussein is doing them a favor to go and defend. These individuals are portraying the manners of Imam al-Hussein, the manners of the companions of Imam Hussein alayhi salam. Beautiful dome, beautiful minarets. I mean, honestly, when you walk from a distance and you just picture in your mind what the dome looks like and what the minarets look like, and once you enter that street and the dome is right in front of you, it's speechless. It's amazing. I mean, I am humbled and honored to be sitting in the dome of Abul Fadl Abbas right behind me, and the dome of Imam Hussein on my side. The minarets are so beautiful. I mean, and the pilgrims are trying so hard just to reach here and see these two beautiful holy shrines. These individuals resemble Imam Hussein alayhi salam and his mission, because they are standing against injustice. This march is not a march just for a pilgrimage. This march is a march that was established by Jabir ibn Abdullah al-Ansari. These mawaqibs are the mawaqibs that were established by Imam Sadiq. This march was established by Imam Zayn al-Abidin and Zainab alayhi salam on their way against oppression, on their way against tyranny. When these that's why, for me, I believe the reason that people do not cover this, the media channels do not cover this, it's because this march illustrates the stand against injustice. Because in riots, you rarely find 1,000, 2,000 people going on protesting against injustice or what's going on in the Arab Spring, in Libya, and Saudi Arabia, and Yemen, and Bahrain. Yet they're not covering this because this is the stand against injustice. 30 million plus people are here. For me personally, I can't imagine this huge number. If I was in the studio alone, I cannot imagine this. Now, I don't know how the viewers can imagine this, but yesterday I was able to walk within Karbala, in the outskirts of Karbala, and honestly, you will find it the most inspirational march you'll ever be participating in. People participate in marathons, people participate in other activities, and pay money to that. Donate to that marathon. The Terry Fox Run, every year they donate so much money because that individual ran across Canada. Yet, and Terry Fox was, he had an illness and he ran across Canada with one leg. Why are we neglecting Imam Hussein? Why are we neglecting the message and the broadcasting of his message? The March of Arbaeen, it's one of the main characteristics of a believer. I mean, just keeping that in mind, we as Shia Muslims have obligations upon our shoulders, and that's showing the entire world what Imam Hussein alayhi salam is. Now, when I mention post on Facebook, we should post on Facebook and remain modest, remain humble, because you'll always find that individual who will bash. You'll always find that individual who will try so hard to stop the message. But what we need to do is keep humble, keep modest, and to always focus on what we share. Because if today I share something about Imam Hussein and tomorrow I share something about a specific band or a specific artist, then we're contradicting our values. So we need to focus on one thing, and that is serving Imam Hussein alayhi salam, because in serving him we achieve that goals, we achieve that paradise that we so desire. But I would like to hand it back over to my brother Hussein Sukhni for the last portion of tonight. So over to you, brother Hussein.
Thank you very much again, Brother Ahmed, and welcome back, dear viewers, to the third part of this show with our dear host and my dear brother, Brother Ahmed, who is in the studio giving us insights into what is happening in Karbala, while I am reporting here on the road to Karbala from Najaf amongst the millions of Zuwar. And rightly so, as you said, the Zuwar, as they walk, during the walk they feel, well, I've had different reactions, to be honest. I've had people tell me, I felt tired, I felt, really exhausted, but there's nothing, of course, like the pain and the exhaustion of Our Lady Zainab. And there are others that say, no, I did not feel anything. When I walk to the corner shop back home, when I walk to the shop, I'm not bothered, I feel tired. But walking these hundreds of kilometers and miles to Abi Abdullah al-Hussein, I felt no pain. But once you reach that last step, once you reach and look upon the dome of Abi Abdullah al-Hussein, like you said, brother, any pain you felt, any feeling of exhaustion or any feeling of strain, that's all disappears, because you have accomplished your mission. It all goes because you are now standing upon, facing the one who is the reason for your existence, the reason for your belief, the reason for everything in this world. Master of the martyrs, Abi Abdullah al-Hussein. And this message is a message that we need to send to the entire world. This message we need to spread as far and as wide as we can. So I urge all brothers and sisters to do so. Everyone nowadays has a phone, has a smartphone, and has access to social media and internet. So I ask all that are walking, I ask all that are not here and who are doing their own processions around the world, in London, in the US, in Europe, in Canada, in wherever, whichever country you are in, if there is a procession or a majlis in the name of Abi Abdullah, or even if you are here, please utilize this gift we have, that is social media. Post videos online, post pictures, create Snapchat filters, whichever method that you can do, whichever skills you have online which you can utilize, please do. And please use the hashtag Hussein_unites_us, Hussein unites us. This hashtag needs to unite the ummah under what is happening here in Karbala and what is happening around the world in honor of this one man, Abi Abdullah al-Hussein. And of course all this effort has to, we have to show the world that there are people behind the cameras who are putting the effort in, behind the screens who are putting the effort in. And I cannot go by not thanking, our, of course I don't want to send the thanks out now, tomorrow is our last day for the show, but I have to, send a thanks to not only the managers, but all the people behind the logistics who are working very hard day and night to send the message about Abi Abdullah al-Hussein. And everyone in fact is doing their bit. All the mawakib, all the servants, all the zuwar, they're all doing their bit. And inshaAllah we are one of those accepted amongst the zuwar on the Day of Judgment, when the zuwar and the khiddam are called out and separated from the rest of humanity and given priority, because they have served Abu Abdullah and they have allowed the tears of Abu Abdullah to be shed. And on that note, I would like to thank you, dear viewers, for tuning in. From my end, I would like to say Assalamu alaikum, and I would like to send it back over to you, Brother Ahmed, in the studio.
Thank you very much, Brother Hussein. We thank you as well, and all the officials of Hussein. Thank you, and thank the team who are on the outskirts of Karbala, providing us with this beautiful live coverage and with the reports. We do thank everyone on this note, but honestly, the last words for tonight, let us focus on uniting ourselves under the banner of Imam Hussein alayhi salam, and let us focus on one thing, which is sharing Ziyarah al-Arba'een, because I cannot emphasize on this enough. When a person shares something about Imam Hussein or Ziyarah al-Arba'een or Ziyarah al-Imam Hussein, which is in specific, and another individual gets inspired by that post. Even if you share something, if one person posts and you share that post and another person gets inspired, you and the person who posted that post will get a reward. And the individuals are inspired by the people who are inspired by you. Everything will be recorded for you as you have performed Ziyarat al-Imam Hussein alayhi salam, because we don't know what happened next year. We don't know what's going to go on in a couple of months. But if we share something right now about Imam Hussein, and something, may Allah forbid, something happens to us, yet that person who was inspired by me goes to Ziyarah Imam Hussein alayhi salam, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala will write for me a Ziyarah of Imam Hussein alayhi salam. And that's one of the key points to keep in our mind, is to always share that message and never stop. Lastly, I would like to ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to hasten the reappearance of our beloved Imam al-Mahdi. May Allah hasten his reappearance, and to not always forget him in our du'as. And he as well, may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala remind him to not always forget us in his du'as, although he does not forget his Shia in his du'as. Thank you very much for tuning in today. Do not forget to join Brother Hussein Sukhni and Sheikh Muntadhar at their live show, The Occasion, at 7 p.m. Karbala time, the final episode. And tonight, me and my dear guest Sheikh Osama Al-Attar at 11 p.m. Karbala time. That's tonight. Thank you very much for tuning in. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.